Welcome back to Caleb's Corner. On today's episode, we will be talking about The Brutalist, Brady Corbet's third movie. Uh, Adrian Brody is the main character, accompanied by Felicity Jones and Guy Pearce. This is a movie that came out in 2025, possibly 2024, but it was on a limited release kind of schedule, and now it's opening up and more people are able to see it. And we're going to talk about it because this is one of my favorite movies of the year. Let's get into it. I have so many things to talk about regarding this movie. And no, we will not be talking about the 3 hour and 30-minute runtime. This is a positive video, not a negative one. Now, if you're not familiar with The Brutalist, this story is following Adrian Brody, who is portraying the character Laszlo Toth. He is an Hungarian architect who fled Europe due to conflict with Nazis. They don't really go into detail and get extremely direct with that source material, but it is hinted at, and he is an immigrant who fled to the United States. And to top it all off, this movie is filmed in 70 millimeter VistaVision film. So that right there just added to the movie feeling like a documentary, a biopic of some sort, and it made the movie feel extremely grounded. I wish that I saw it in IMAX or an actual 70 millimeter screen, but the screening that I went to, it looks amazing. I mean, this movie literally looks great. And if I could see it in a huge IMAX screen and all of the architectural shots taking up the whole screen, it literally feels like you're witnessing something that happened before you were born and real history that I feel like all of us would have appreciated if that was like something that was taught in school. But this movie does an extremely good job at encapsulating what the American dream is inside of our heads and if it's actually feasible to even happen. Because in order to achieve certain success with the work and being a creative person or whatever you are doing, you're going to cross the limit of having a good moral compass to ensure that you are where you want to be. And if you cannot come to terms with that, or you don't think that that is going to be the outcome, then you will sadly be mistaken. And with me just saying that statement, like throughout the movie, we do see that Laszlo, he does have great qualities as a character. He will stand there the next day just to get bread for someone that he did not even know. That was the first time that he met Gordon, who was also a supporting character in this movie. I think he did an amazing job. And they did an amazing job just making all of these characters humanized. Obviously, they're human, but it just works. Everything that he was doing was sincere. And as an immigrant, someone who is fleeing the country due to persecution, they made him feel like a heartfelt person. So whenever anything did happen on screen, there was that knee-jerk reaction of us feeling for the character and all of the characters on screen. And Adrian Brody, he just sells his performance in this one. I mean, there aren't too many jokes because this isn't a comedic movie, but certain scenes and dialogue, it was just so subtle and it worked to the point where my whole theater was laughing, and even me, just like small things. So that made the movie like even another element of surprisal with it just being able to touch us in that type of way. And before I go too far, I would just like to say if Guy Pearce doesn't get any nominations or win any awards, he did an excellent job portraying Harrison Van Buren. Uh, he's always been like a favorite actor of mine. He's in The Count of Monte Cristo. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. He just gets better with age, honestly. You can't trust him in almost any movie, but he is a great actor. Great. And he portrays a character that is a rich man, so his American dream is already fulfilled. But he has an infatuation with the arts and anybody who, can intellectually think and make a name for themselves. But he absolutely despises beggars. So that automatically puts Laszlo in the middle line of morality and has him questioning if what he is doing is the right thing to do. Now, mind you, this type of situation happening to someone that just fled from Europe during a world war, this would be the perfect setup. But as we watch the movie, things do unfold. And it almost feels like all of this is like signing a deal with the devil in a sense. And going into this one, before I saw it, I did have my reservations because, with this type of runtime, there will be dry spots in the movie, but I felt like they handled that properly. Throughout that 3 hours and 30 minutes, I did not yawn once. I think that I was so hyped that my eyes were glued to it, but anybody who really wasn't even looking forward to watching this movie, I think it's enough going on and enough character development throughout that runtime that there aren't really any dry spots. Maybe it's not as action packed as we would like in certain instances, but the soundtrack, the cinematography, everything that would make anything feel like it's slow, they raised the level on the technical aspect. Fucking amazing. I have to give it like a 4 out of 5 offer it. But more. And truthfully, I think that we need more movies that follow this standard of keeping, like at least 2 hours and 30 to 3 hour movies if we want to develop any type of connection with these characters. Because the subject material is very straightforward, but if you keep it straightforward, you will automatically always have a boring movie. So, us having all of the outside contributions from the characters and the cast, it makes everything tick. Um, I don't have any bad words to say about that. And like I said, Brady Corbet, he was extremely poignant about making sure that this was filmed in VistaVision. I wasn't familiar with VistaVision. I've never heard of it really before, but it's shot in 70 millimeter, and I believe it's the closest thing to 35 millimeter, but it's like turned horizontally so the images come out bigger. I'm not a camera guy all the way, but just like those small details makes this movie just like a masterpiece, because when somebody really wants to do something and they put their heart into it, you can obviously see it. Like the art speaks for itself. And that just gave it like the rustic, authentic look that we were so desperately searching for this film, that when I saw it, it all made sense. Truly visually stunning movie. Probably should watch it at least once, if not twice, to pick up on all the small details. Felicity Jones, she definitely deserves Oscar buzz and nominations because that was a great performance. She literally made us feel as if we were Laszlo's partner. I mean, she had her own issues and her own aspirations, and they tackled it, they addressed it, and they tried to give an explanation in anything that happened or was said throughout the script. She did an excellent job. I mean, I don't really know that much movies that involves Felicity Jones, but now I'm intrigued because she definitely sold her role. But in general, I think that this film is the American dream flipped on its head, because in order to achieve certain aspects and heights of greatness, there will be loss. And there will be loss that is unspeakable. And there are vices that people go through, because I'm not trying to spoil anything about the movie, but our main protagonist, or antagonist, you could say, he does have a vice that involves the use of abusing drugs. I'm not going to go into it, but it just makes it more of a grounded approach, because we all go through these things, and it makes it more humanistic in that type of approach. And it also does a good job. Well, I could say that Guy Pearce does a good job in his character portrayal of Mr. Van Buren, that the wealthy and the rich, they do not have the same type of morality or respect or anything that a normal person would have. And I know that's something that we all strive to be, to become financially stable or rich to a degree. But at some point, you begin to question, like, what are you funding when you have that amount of money? I think this is a big movie, especially just everything going on or outside around the United States and, current things that are changing everybody's lives day to day. It's an extremely introspective movie looking at how we should re- respect and treat each other. Bare bones, basic, like very, very good movie. I genuinely think this movie will stand the testament of time, and it is one of his greatest films, if not the best film that I saw this year. It tackles so many things and addresses them with an actual answer, an answer that felt heartfelt and it felt authentic. I don't think that the ending is the greatest thing to me. That's probably my only drawback because it's so tonally different from the rest of the movie. But it also makes sense because, like I said, it almost felt like a documentary biopic. It actually made more sense the more that I'm thinking about it and thought about it, but it wasn't the ending that I wanted to see. And I feel like once the physical release comes out, there will probably be an extended cut or an alternative ending, which I would be extremely hyped to see. I think this was a project that I was waiting to see very heavily. I'm happy that A24 finally released it because the award season is around the corner and everybody should go see this movie. If you have the opportunity to do so, you probably should. It's 3 hours and 30 minutes. They do have an intermission in there, so it's not like you're just fucked completely. I think that both hour and 50-minute halves worked extremely well, and the second half didn't even feel as long as the first. I went to the theater and it was full. So people really are itching to see these type of movies. And I would just like the company to distribute even more because we have other movies that I'm sure other people want to see, and the movie theater would be filled to go see it. Sing Sing is probably going to be next on my list. And I am a happy camper because The Brutalist was the movie that I waited for, and it did not disappoint at all. I walked out of the theater with my head held high, and I was very happy, and it was a stimulating experience. This movie easily gets a 4 out of 5 for me, probably a 4.5 out of 5, but that's kind of reaching because no movie is all the way perfect. But everybody involved in this project, they handled their business. The lighting is great, and just like certain ways that they set up the shots, it just looks amazing. So if you can, please go watch this movie, enjoy it, and I appreciate you guys for checking in and stopping by. There will be more videos in the future. You all need to have a good one. Stay safe. It's cold as hell. Have a great one. Like and subscribe.